you're still young.
Yeah,
If you're too focused about advancing your career really fast, but you're somewhere where you're unhappy, you're gonna look back 10 years from now and really regret that. So
right,
he said it's okay to take it slow. It's okay to figure out what you want to do.
right.
But just being somewhere really happy, that's something you will remember when you look back 10 years from now.
Exactly. Welcome, everybody. This is Alpha Delta, a podcast where we have conversations with people who are operating at a higher level than most, with the hope and purpose of motivating and inspiring people to become the best version of themselves. So today, I'm joined by a good friend, Minji. Minji is someone who went to the same university as. We did a lot of projects together, and we just genuinely just hanged out and had a good time in college together. But over the years since she graduated, she's done some really impressive things, things that have inspired me, and things that I hope that you as the audience will also feel inspired by as well. So Minji, for those who don't know you, could you just tell us like who you are, where you're from, what you do, and where you go to school?
Hi, everyone. So my name is Minji. I'm Korean, but I actually grew up in a country called Myanmar. I also lived in Indonesia for a few years. And then I came to America when I was 18 for college, and I went to Marist College, same as Joe. And right now I am in Silicon Valley working for Samsung Research America, which is like the R&D subsidiary for Samsung. And at the moment, I'm working in the IT department as an escalation manager. So I work with the IT technicians and the engineers to resolve any issues that our employees are having.
Nice, nice, nice. Cool. Very, very cool. So yeah, the first question I have for you is what are you passionate about and why?
Okay, I feel like I'm passionate about so many different things. Some
Right,
of the things that come into mind would be music. Music has always been there for me. I
right,
feel like during the hardest times and also during the happiest times of my life.
right,
Music has got me through a lot of, it made me meet a lot of new people, new friends. So that's very important to me. I'm also
right,
very passionate about the outdoors. I've always been a very active child ever since I was a kid. And I
right,
realized that being in the outdoors just make me the happiest. It really clears my mind. So I love
right,
camping, hiking, and most importantly, I just love doing the things that make me happy. And I
right.
also I'm really passionate about making people around me feel loved and be
Mm.
happy. So those are the very important things in my life.
I like that. It's like for you, it's both internal happiness and external happiness in other people, right? That's something that you're very, very passionate about, and that's really, really cool. So yeah, taking a step back, let's talk a bit about your childhood. Like let's dig into like what was your childhood like? Could you tell us a bit about what you spend your time doing? What was high school like for you? Just give us that whole general journey just about what it was like growing up for you.
Okay, I feel like I was very lucky and fortunate to have parents like my parents, and they sent me to an international school. And
Right,
I've had opportunities that a lot of people didn't have, which I'm very grateful for. So I was
right.
really into sports when I was in high school. And as an international school, we would travel outside of the country for sports tournament. So
Oh,
I would travel
nice.
at least 3 to 4 times a year through school.
Right,
And they would have travel with the school, something called Week Without Walls, which was a week of our whole grade traveling to a different city, different state, or a
right.
different country to learn about new
Mm-hmm.
cultures. I feel like that really opened up my mind to different cultures, different people, and made me a very open-minded people. So
Right,
I'm very grateful that I had that opportunity. Just like personal life, I would say I would bike around every day after school and I would go
right,
hang out with the stray dogs. Stray dog is pretty big where I grew up, and I would
right.
always just bring snacks. So I think I was just a very active person as a kid.
Right.
I still
Mm-hmm.
am.
Right.
But I wouldn't say my childhood was picture perfect. I've definitely gone through hard times. And
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I was pretty resentful of that for a very long time, but now when I look back, I try to see how that made me grow into as a person and made me who I am today, and I'm very proud of who I am today. So I'm very
Right.
grateful for those hard moments. Yeah.
Nice, nice. So it's definitely like, growing up for you, there were a lot of challenges that you went through, and that sort of shaped the kind of person you are today.
Yeah, definitely wasn't easy, but I wouldn't have had it any other way.
Right. Absolutely. Cool. So my next question is, walk us through how you got to where you are today. Just tell us a bit about your career path. What are some of the things you've done? Just like give us that whole picture.
Okay. So something that I thought about recently was, you know how in high school and in college, even during an interview, they always ask you what your 5-year plan is.
Right. Yeah.
Um, and when I was in, even before I graduated college, that was what everyone around me said. So I
Right.
focused so hard on it. Not only did I have a 5-year plan, I had a 10-year plan, a 20-year
Nice.
plan.
Of course. Of course.
I even had a plan for after retirement. Like I had my entire life planned out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But even before I graduated college, COVID-19
Yeah.
happened
Yeah.
and
That's life.
nothing went the way I thought it would.
Yeah.
Um, so I like really changed the way I viewed 5-year plans. Is it's very
Mhm.
important to have a 5-year plan because it's like a guidance. But I
Right.
also learned that nothing in life goes the way you want it to be.
That's true.
So it's about navigating those obstacles and how you get to where you want to be, knowing that accepting that there could be a different path and not just sticking to one, but
Right.
having that 5-year plan to kind of guide you.
Right.
So I say that because where I am today is not where I envisioned myself and my 5-year
Right.
plan.
Yeah.
So I always had kind of like a difficulty finding what my passion was, what I wanted to do.
Okay. Right.
But then at school, I started realizing that I love networks.
Mhm.
So like learning how the internet works and how everything like servers, all that works. So I wanted a job as a network administrator, but COVID
Right.
happened. It's really hard to find a job. They didn't really look at people who needed visas either.
Right.
So I really struggled and I had this opportunity land on me, which wasn't a position I wanted. It was an IT
Right.
support role, but it
Hmm.
was in a good company, which was Samsung. And I was like, you know
Right.
what? It's a good, it's not something I want to do, but it will lead me to where I want to be. It's a good company, so let's see where it takes me.
Right.
Um, I took that role and right now, and then I moved 6 months ago to California from New York, New Jersey,
Right.
and I am working in a different subsidiary, but this was where I wanted to be, so I'm very happy. Um, I was very unhappy at my old job,
All right.
and doing this
Mhm.
move is where I want to be, where what I want to do. So I'm very
Right.
happy here.
Yeah. So it worked out really well in the end. It was a great decision joining Samsung for you, right?
I think it was. And I would say that I'm not exactly where I want to be yet,
Right.
but having that, working in a corporation, seeing how everything works, has really helped
Hmm.
me figure out more of what I want to do.
Right.
And you know how all of us our age really struggle with what is it that I want to do? What job do I
Yeah.
want?
Right.
And people expect you to figure that out as soon as you graduate. And I was very pressured by that as well, but just having that opportunity to be in a corporation where you can see all sides to it has really
Right.
made me figure out, oh, this is what I want to do and this is what I don't want to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the I think that's a really important thing. It's just that exposure to being able to like figure out for yourself like what works for you, what doesn't work for you, what are you passionate about, what just is like an ick for you. It's like it's such an important experience to have this for anyone completely. So the next question I have for you is what has been one pivotal moment in your life so far that has shaped your career? And the follow-up question is, what has been your greatest achievement in your career so far?
So I did mention this a little bit, but in my old job, I was very unhappy. And it was really
Right.
hard to navigate through that because that was my first full-time job. So in
Mm,
my head, it's like, oh, maybe this is how
It's supposed to
work
be.
is for everyone.
Right.
Maybe this is how it's supposed to be.
Mm,
And there, I always knew that I wanted something different, but it wasn't enough to make me quit my job and say, hey, I'm moving. But
right.
I was very unhappy. I was undervalued and not appreciated for the work that I put in.
Right.
So, and then during that time, I got this opportunity it's a subsidiary, but it's still considered a different company.
Right.
And um, it was an opportunity, and I knew that this place valued their employees and
Mm,
appreciated growth and wanted their employee to be able to quit a job that made me very unhappy and go to somewhere that I know would be better. And this obviously wasn't an easy move for me because I had to move from New York to California. I
right.
was comfortable in New York. I had my friends. I was comfortably
Right.
living, and there was no reason for me to move, but I knew I was unhappy, and being able to recognize that and leave, even if it's not easy, was really big for me. And now I'm
Yeah.
here very happy going into work every day. I have to go into work every
Right.
day, but it's so much fun.
Right.
Just it makes a huge difference because we
Yeah.
work 40 hours a week. That's
Oh,
most of
wow.
your time, right?
Wow.
And and you if you're unhappy at your job, then your life will struggle too. So just
Yeah.
having
True.
to work at a job where I'm very happy, that makes everything else in life easier as well because you're
Right.
just happy. Yeah.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
yeah, and
Yeah.
then the next thing about my greatest achievement. So when I quit my other job, they actually offered me an engineering position
Oh,
in
interesting.
Texas.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, because they didn't want me to leave, but I made that choice. I was like, you know what? Even if I'm moving to a position, even if the position that I'm doing right now, it's a similar position than what I was doing, I
Right.
know that this will make me happier. And something my
Right.
brother said was, being happy at your job is really important. You're still young.
Yeah.
If you're too focused about advancing your career really fast, but you're somewhere where you're unhappy, you're gonna look back 10 years from now and really regret that. So
Right.
he said it's okay to take it slow. It's okay to figure out what you want to do.
Right.
But just being somewhere really happy, that's something you will remember when you look back 10 years from now.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah. Yeah, no,
yeah.
that actually really, really resonates with me a lot. Just like prioritizing your well-being and your happiness. I mean, part of me moving back was because of that, right? It's like realizing, well, among other things that I went through during last year, but it like that I had a very challenging experience. And the thing I got from that is that I was genuinely unhappy in the US and like realizing that it just wasn't the right environment for me, right? And because of like you're graduating, you get all this pressure of like you want to live in the city, you want to live a big life, good life, have fun with your friends, get a great job, great salary, all these things, right? There are all these pressures that didn't really make me and like answer the question like, okay, Joe, is this what you genuinely want, right? um and it took me having this very challenging experience that just made me realize that actually like this environment is not it's not good for me. It's not one that I'm just genuinely not happy at all, so hence the move back as well. So like I resonate with just the whole just prioritizing your happiness, and like it's such an important thing. um so my next
Yeah, I
question for
think
you.
it's huge.
Uh-huh. No, go ahead, go ahead, go
Yeah.
ahead.
I wanted to talk to you about my greatest achievement. I don't think I kind
Yeah,
of
yeah,
covered
sure.
that in terms of
Okay,
my career. So,
awesome.
so I moved to this place to this new job doing something similar, but as soon as I moved here, I really exposed myself to all the engineers and the managers.
Right,
The engineering managers, I really put myself out there. This team really supports learning and growth. So I
right.
always told my director, I want to do more, I want to learn more.
Yeah.
And so right now I'm actually I got promoted to an escalation manager within 4 months
Oh,
I joined here.
congratulations.
So
Awesome.
I became a senior tech, and
Yeah.
I also do something that no one else does in my position. I started working with the network engineers as well as the
Hmm.
Linux engineers because I have interest and background in both of them.
Right.
And this
Nice.
past week, actually, because I always join the engineering meetings, and this past week, one of the engineers trusted me to lead a project.
Oh, wow. That's
So
awesome.
I'm leading a project right now, and it's I just have to I can't tell you everything, but I'm writing a script basically in
Right.
PowerShell, which I have zero experience in, but
Right.
I have scripting experience in Python and Bash. So I was like,
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna be scared. I'm just gonna take on this challenge
Right.
and I was able to do it. So that's something that I'm really proud of. Like just to
That's
be able to
awesome.
do something that normally I would be really scared. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna
Yeah.
try this and see if I can do it. And I didn't need any help and I was able to figure it out. So I wanted to
Yeah,
share
that's
that.
awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. Congrats on that. That's very cool. Just being like, be sort of thrown in the deep end on something that you've never done before, and you sort of like have to sink or swim. And from what I hear is like you're swimming very, very fast, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And to like
Thank
to
you.
anyone listening and watching, is to give context. Like today is the 12th of November, 2022. So when this episode out comes out, it'll probably be much, much later once you've done with this project. So I'm sure you'll have a lot more interesting insights about just your whole experience. So my next question for you is, what is the biggest challenge you've ever had in your life and how did you overcome it?
I feel like I definitely had a lot of challenges in my life. One of the hardest thing for me, something recent, was leaving my best friends in New York and making
Yeah,
this move to California.
right,
And I always struggled in terms of friendships, and
right,
it took me a while to find my people. These were the people that made
right,
me feel very loved, very cared for. I was very comfortable with them, very happy with them.
right.
And but I was miserable at my job, and when I had this opportunity, I was like, I want to do this move, no
Yeah,
doubt. And
yeah.
I knew one person in California when I moved here.
Right.
So
But that's all you
but I wasn't
needed.
scared. Yeah, I
Yeah,
wasn't scared. I was like, I know I can go out there and meet new people, but I did struggle when I first moved here because I felt
right,
like everyone I love was far from me. My brother is
right.
far from me.
Mm-hmm.
My family is has been I haven't seen my family in 3 years. We've been
Wow.
living
Yeah,
thousands of miles away. So leaving my best friends was hard. And there was a time when I was in California where I thought everyone I loved is far from me. And even if I was making new connections here and new friends, it was hard for me to accept that because my brain was saying, but they're not my friends from back home.
right,
Um, and it wasn't easy, but the way I overcame that was knowing that even no, knowing and accepting that the new connections I make might not be the connection I had from back home, but it's
right,
still okay to have these new connections and make these new
right,
connections because these friends here make me happy.
right,
And also learning to accept that no matter the distance, my friends are always there for me and they care about me, they love me. The distance doesn't change anything.
right,
And also what really helped was understanding that just being grateful that I have these friendships because not
right.
everyone in the world has these friendships. So instead
It's
of being
true.
sad and looking at the negative things, I'm like, you know what? Even if we're far apart, at least I have these friendships that make me feel so loved and supported from miles away. And that's how I overcame it. And I feel
Right.
like I'm in a much better place now.
Yeah, I think that's like it's such an important thing to like, understand that even though you feel you're in a situation where you feel like you've lost everything, you still have things that are important to you and that you can value a lot, right? And it's the thing, it goes also to just like relating to the thing of just like, gratitude and like, being grateful for the things you already do have, beyond just like the things you're trying to chase or things you're trying to achieve. It's recognizing that, whenever you're approaching things, you're coming from a point of a place of abundance rather than a place of lack, right? You're coming from a place of like you already have very, very good things that you value a lot. And just because you're going into a new situation or like new environment, it doesn't mean that you don't have those things with you still, right? You carry on those things that are important into you forward. Um, yeah, so I think that's really, really cool. Um, so yeah, my next question for you is, what advice would you give someone who's trying to do the same things as you?
I would say never stop being curious and always put in your
Right.
hard work.
Mhm.
There were times at my old job where I would put all my hard work in and I wasn't appreciated.
Right.
And obviously, when you're in that situation, it really kills your motivation. And you're like, why would I work hard when I'm not being appreciated? But the way
Right.
I overcame that was, you know what, even if they don't in the hard work, like I'm not gonna make people around me change who I am as a person. So I kept putting in the hard work, and that led me to where I am today, and I'm happier.
Right.
So that's so important. Just never stop being you just because you're not appreciated, because there will be people around you that will
Mhm.
appreciate you. You just have to go find that. And one big thing that really helped me was really talking to people who are in places you want to be. So I would have
Yeah.
one-on-one meetings with the engineering manager. She is a really inspiring person. So I wanted to
Right.
know her path. I wanted to know how she got there. And that really brought me clarity because these people have gone through what I'm going through now. So just
Right.
finding the people who inspire you, who do the things that you want to do, and talking with them has really helped
Right.
me.
Yeah, I think that's such an important skill. And I mean, even like this podcast, but like one of the underlying themes is that, right? You know,
Right.
conversations with people that would inspire you, who are in positions that, could like motivate you, and so that you sort of see like what is possible, right? What can you actually
Mhm.
strive if you put in
Right.
the right energy and you just work hard towards it, right? What's possible?
Right.
Um,
Yeah, I
yeah,
think it's because um, when we look at people who are successful, we don't see everything they went through to get there, right? We
right,
see successful people and we're like, they're successful, but I'm struggling so much. But if you actually get the
exactly.
chance to talk to them, you realize that, wow, they went through something as hard or even harder than I did, and I'm
Yeah,
actually in a better place than they were before. Like that gives you
right.
the inspiration, the reality check. So I think that's
Right.
really important.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. It's like it's such, yeah, just that exposure is so important just for anyone in anything that you're trying to achieve. It's just such an important thing to have exposed to.
Right.
So my next question for you is, where are you heading to? What are some of the things you're hoping to accomplish in the next couple of years?
Uh-huh. I still feel like I'm still figuring out what exactly I want to do, but
Right.
what makes me happy is I know I'm on the right track. So even if it
Hmm.
might not be the speed I want it to be, just knowing that you're on the right track makes me feel good. I'm
Right.
figuring out slowly. It's not a race. Everyone in the like this pressure that we have by society makes it feel like it's a
Right.
race, but
Yeah.
it's only a race against yourself. So
Right.
what I want, what I'm looking forward to is really figuring out what exactly makes me happy and what I'm really
Right.
passionate about. And I'm figuring that out now. And once I figure that out, obviously I want to work in a position that makes me happy and feel like the work that I'm putting in is giving me the happiness, feeling good, like feeling that the work I'm putting in is having an impact.
Right.
And when I really figure out exactly what I want to do, I am very interested in getting my master's in that
Right.
field.
In that field. Interesting. Very cool. Very, very cool. Cool. So like the next set of questions are a bit more personal. And the first question I have for you is, do you practice self-improvement? And if you do, what do you do?
Yes, I have so much to say about this, but I'll try to keep it short. Um,
Yeah,
I used to be the person that thought I could never get better. I would just think I am the
interesting.
way I am today because of my past things that I went through in life, and I could never get
Yeah,
better.
yeah,
And I was very lucky to have really good people around me that showed me that life doesn't have to be like this every day. I can get better, I can do better. And ever since then, I kind of became I would say, maniac in trying to be a better person every day.
right.
Um, I really always want to do better. Like it's like a competition against myself.
Yeah,
And I can be very hard on myself, but I'm also learning to be compassionate. And the I'm actually something that I'm working with my therapist right now. There's two different things, and it's
hmm,
DBT and CBT. I
okay.
don't know if you've heard of that
I
term, but
think
I
CBT is cognitive
kind of just.
behavioral therapy, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, actually, I went through
Mhm.
that, so like I
Yeah, so
know.
cognitive
Yeah,
behavioral therapy, right? Yeah. It's
yeah,
about, so for people that don't know, it's about identifying and challenging the negative thought patterns we have with a positive um, behavior and positive thought. And DBT is dialectical behavior therapy. It's about finding a balance between accepting and validating who you are and the challenges that you went through, but also
mm,
understanding the benefits of change. So I've been working
yeah,
on those two things, and it has made my life significantly better. I'm in a
right,
place that I never thought I could be.
yeah,
I'm happier, I'm doing better in life. I can get through life, like difficult times, easier because we can't just eliminate all hard times. Like that's just
that's
not
true,
real. But
right.
being able to navigate through those better, it makes me very happy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's like, yeah, I really resonate. And I like how you talked about therapy because that's such an important and crucial thing in just like self-improvement, like your mental health. And it's something that you actively have to be working on it, right? I know you talked about how
right,
like, it's something you're working with the current therapist. And like I think that's amazing, right? Because it's like, you have to put in the work to make sure that you're mentally healthy and that you're resolving any like previous traumas or current traumas or anything that's like sort of like clouding your mind, because if you're unhealthy in the mind, then you're unhealthy in every other areas of your life, right?
right.
Yeah, so that's really really cool. So my next question for you is, what is one area of your life you feel you could improve on?
So one big thing for me would be anxiety. I
Mm,
have really bad anxiety, and it's funny because before I knew what anxiety was a thing, I, I mean, I was always an anxious person, but once I found out what anxiety was, I feel like I
right.
got even more anxious because now in the past it would have just been a feeling, but now it's
Right.
like when I feel anxious, my brain says, "Oh, I'm being
Oh,
anxious again."
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and it has been very challenging for me, but I've been like the CBT, DBT that I'm doing with my therapist really helps me with my
right,
anxiety as well. Because and I read a book called Good Anxiety, which really, really helped me shift my perspective on anxiety. So
right.
something that the book says is anxiety is actually a good thing because
Mm,
we feel anxious because it's either something that needs to be changed, something that like we're uncomfortable in, or something that that you're nervous about. But the book kind
right,
of guides you that lets you know that anxiety is a normal thing, but you can use that anxiety and push it to be more confident and use that anxiety to see what areas that you can grow and be better or prepare better.
right.
Um,
Yeah,
so but it's not
yeah,
easy. I'm a really anxious person.
right.
Every day I get very anxious, but I
Yeah,
am on the right path again, slowly, just working on how to overcome that anxiety. Not necessarily just ignore it, but accepting that anxiety is a normal thing and
yeah.
finding ways to overcome that better.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I resonate with a lot of what you're saying. Like anxiety, it's like it's such a big thing that everybody goes through. Like even I go through anxiety. And I think for me, over the years, what I've learned that is that whenever I'm experiencing anxiety, it's usually because of it's something that's out of my comfort zone. And it's something that like I've never been exposed to. And it's something that's challenging. That's why I'm feeling anxious about it. Or maybe I'm not prepared for something. And I usually view those as opportunities for me to actually push myself to like do my very best, right? So whenever I feel anxiety, I know whatever I'm feeling anxious about, I should attack it. Like I should do whatever it is that I'm feeling anxious about, right? And that could be simple as like, maybe speaking on stage or like going up to talk to a girl as an example, right? I know that because I'm feeling anxiety, like I should do it because that's just going to push me forward, right? So that's yeah, I very much resonate with a lot of things you're saying about anxiety. I mean, it's something that everybody goes through because like when you're putting like in very uncomfortable situations, and naturally your body feels like you want to get back into your comfort zone, and like anxiety is just a response. It's like it's a chemical induced response that sort of is triggered to sort of like try to shift you towards doing things that are a bit more comfortable. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I lost you for a second.
I think we're good now. We're good now.
But I think we're good. Yeah, so I think there's two ways we can look at anxiety, right? We can have it control us, or we can use it as a way to make ourselves better. So that's where I'm
Right.
at now, the shift.
Nice. Awesome. Awesome. Very cool. All right. So my next question for you is what does being a woman mean to you?
Mm, So that I thought about for a while because at a very young age, I grew up with a brother and I had a lot of male friends around me, and I always viewed male and female as equal. I never
Right.
kind of saw myself as, oh, I'm a girl. I know I'm a girl, but I saw myself as a person. And when I look
Yeah.
at people, I don't think, oh, she's a girl and she's a boy. I would think of them as
Yeah.
equal. But one thing that I realized was being a woman in tech is something very important.
Right.
I've been in tech for a while, and anytime I have like an internship or a job, there's always, I would say, one girl out of 10 male. Like there's
Right. Yeah. The
not a lot of woman
ratio.
representation.
Hmm.
So, but one thing that I noticed was when there was more female in the group, like it was a little bit more cheerful, smelled better. It was a little bit more lively.
Right.
So I think in that terms, I'm very strong in encouraging women to not be afraid to be in tech, even if there's guys around you. A
Right.
lot of guys compared to female, I really try to encourage and support women in tech. Like that's
Right.
very important to me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. So, Minji, just telling us a bit about, what being a woman means to you and, how it relates to your career as being a woman in tech. So my follow-up question is, is how do you navigate life as this said woman?
Mhm. So yeah, that whole statement is kind of difficult for me because I never personally viewed myself as, oh, I'm a woman, I'm going to be doing less. I think I always try to view myself as equal. And I know that that's not true in majority of the world. Like when people see that someone's a woman, there are those things that happen in the workplace that, make um but, but regardless, I've always viewed myself as equal, and regardless of my gender, I go into work and I put in the hard work, and I know whether I'm a woman or a man, I put in the work I put in, and I feel like the work I've put in has always given me the opportunities that I have. Um, so yeah, it's difficult for me because I grew up having a brother with a lot of male
Yeah.
friends. I also played a lot of sports, so I was always around a lot of male friends. And to me, I could never easily separate those two because everyone to me is equal, regardless
Right.
of their gender.
Yeah, so my next question to you is, what does Alpha Delta mean to you?
So I wanted to say thank you to you. I feel very honored and I'm very grateful that you invited me to talk here and have this interview with you. I think a lot of times we have a hard time validating ourselves, but just being able to come and share my experiences and knowing that something my life and something that I've said could make an impact to someone else, that means a lot to me. So I'm very grateful
Right.
that you invited me to do this, and it's an amazing thing that you're doing. It's something that everyone needs in the world, but we don't have a lot of. So you're doing an amazing job. So
Oh, appreciate that. So sweet, so sweet. But thank you for taking the time. I know like offline we were sort of discussing about this, and I know it's not an easy thing for you to do like public interviews and in a recording format. So I really appreciate you for just, being very courageous about it and just pushing forward all the way through. Think we had a really great conversation. We're pretty much coming towards the end of the interview. Do you have any questions for me?
yeah, I before I go into question, I just want to say I really appreciate you for giving me this opportunity to
Right.
be able to, push myself and do something that I've never done before. or something that I was always very fearful about. So
Right.
this is a big step for me as well. So I really appreciate you. And
Right.
I have a question for you. I want to know what went through your head or how you came about doing this,
Right. Yeah.
just creating this whole Alpha Delta.
Yeah, that's a really good question. So like it started off with me starting my YouTube channel, right? And the whole thing around my YouTube channel was just about self-improvement, trying to help people become the best version of themselves, whether it's physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, spiritually, etc. Right? So at first, I was putting out content of like videos, me telling people like, oh, like this is how you can make money, or like, oh, this is how you build wealth, this is how you be happy, this is how you be healthy, right? This is how you invest your money, like these kind of things. But then I also thought about like, okay, it would be even better to have different perspectives on just still a similar topic about being the best version of yourselves. And I realized like I was just looking at like just my network and the people I know and the people who inspire me and motivate me to just keep pushing and whatever I'm doing. And I was like, you know what, like all these people I know, they don't have their stories out there. And I was like, let me be that person to like, share these stories for them so that, if there's another girl in Korea who has dreams about working in tech in the US, right? They can watch this episode of you and be like, I want to be like Minji, you know? So
Yeah, that's cool.
yeah, yeah, that's where the podcast is sort of just stemmed from the YouTube channel as just like the brainchild of just the whole, self-improvement, trying to help people just become the best version of themselves and just build a community around people who are just like, passionate about improving, passionate about getting better, about helping themselves, helping each other, so that just as a collective, we can all just move forward and grow together.
Yeah, that's so awesome, and I really respect you for what you're doing because I feel like all of us have the same goal, same end goal, but that can be reached in so many different ways. Everyone
Yeah,
have their own path, different challenges, obstacles, and how you overcome those. So just
absolutely.
the fact that you're making like a common ground for everyone to share that, and so that we can see the differences, but still understand, still allow people to relate, because not everyone goes through the same things. So just having those different opinions, I think is amazing. And
Right.
again, thank you for having me here. Really appreciate it. And I had a lot of fun today doing this with
Yeah.
you.
I'm glad you had fun. I do appreciate you just taking the time as well. Last thing, like, is there anything that you want to plug or promote on this podcast? And then where can people connect with you? Yeah.
Yeah, so I think in terms of social media, I'm pretty private with my personal social media, just to like
Mhm.
friends and family. But anyone can add me on LinkedIn. I always want to help people and want people to do better and want to share my life. So anyone can reach out to me on LinkedIn and I will be there for you to answer any questions or just listen if they have anything they want to say to me.
Right. Awesome. Awesome. And for anyone watching,
Yeah.
like I'll put her LinkedIn in the description of this video. So you can just scroll down, whether it's on Spotify or on YouTube, you can find the links in the description of the uh, audio or video podcast. Right. Awesome. So thank you so much, Minji. I really enjoyed talking with you and having this conversation. For everyone watching, this is Alpha Delta, a podcast where we have conversations with people who are operating at a higher level than most, with the hope of just, motivating and inspiring people to become the best version of themselves. I've been your host, Joe Karaoke, and I'm joined here by my guest, Minji. And it's going to be a goodbye from us, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Thank you.